All right, what's good, undefeated family? We tried to go live from outside, man. It's so beautiful here in Tuscaloosa. Here with my boy Jan Sports, aka Coach Jarek. Good to have you in house, man. All good, man. We love what you do. We appreciate. I know you for a long time. I'm glad you're here. I like your delivery. We're talking football. That's it. Um, this clearly we know that Alabama has to add someone from this depleted secondary. Like you have Keon Sabb, who's going to be a baller. Damani Jackson, like we want him to be a baller, but is he? Um, you know what? Maybe time will tell. But look, and no disrespect to Xavier Brown at all, but like we need somebody to, come in with some experience. What do you think's realistic this weekend, Jarek?
Man, well, first of all, man, it's great to be back. Definitely great to be back, and definitely appreciate all you guys for reaching out to me. And man, couldn't be. I'm happy, very happy with you guys. But man, Kyle, this Bama secondary it's concerning. It's I'm not gonna lie to you. It's definitely a little concerning when you're taking a look at the depth chart, and there's a lot of talent there, man. But just I'm not gonna lie to you and sit up here and say to you that everything is gonna be peach and dandy. So so far looking at the transfer portal, we got a target going in there so far, but there's just there's some names that obviously that I would see if we can try to get in the conversation. Of course, of course, maybe the JMU corner, maybe the JMU corner, maybe like a D'Angelo Pons could potentially be in the conversation. Maybe a Javon Cole could potentially be in that conversation as well. But we need boundary help. We need boundary help, and we need boundary depth because Damani Jackson, as talented as he is, former 5-star kid, we remember he did suffer an ACL injury coming out of high school, and you just never know, right? That's high school. But in terms, how does that affect him in his play? We just haven't had that clear cut answer. And then literally, if you look at the backups, they're freshmen, right? They're freshmen or players that simply just don't really have the experience. So I'm not gonna lie to you, Kyle. I am definitely a little concerned about this depth chart, but this is something that honestly we possibly should have probably predicted that, hey, if there was going to be any side that was going to take a major hit, it was definitely going to be the defensive side of the ball. That we expect top. Kyle, think about this for a second. Did you know that since 2005, Alabama has always had at least a top 15 scoring defense. The only one that wasn't a top 15 scoring defense was Saban. Was his first year. Besides that, we have literally been one of the most dominant defenses for almost 2 decades. So this year we may take a little bit of a bump while playing a lot of our young guys. But we also have to remember, Kyle, this year. You don't have to go undefeated and make the playoffs. There's a possibility you can go 9-3 and still make it. So if there's any sort of side that has to take their bumps but still get that opportunity to still grow and develop, this is the year to do it.
You know what? We have a super chat coming in from Adam and Pella, man. We'll get to that in just a second. But what's up, Jay? We see you inside the comment box. Patriot Life. Good to have you. Afron, what's up, man? Appreciate you giving a shout out to Coach Jarek, Sweet Home Alabama. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight on this fine Friday night. This won't be a long show. Wanted just to come on in, bring Jarek in and talk about kind of this secondary, get some ideas. And Efron was talking about, only one visiting. Well, to my understanding, you have the Penn State safety coming in. And then you have, can someone in the undefeated put his name in? Or Jarek, I don't know if you have that off the top of your head. And then you have Deshaun Jones, who's a corner out of Wake Forest. I believe both of those guys will be in here, along with the number 1 player from the state of Indiana. And then maybe a couple other guys might sprinkle in. So I think you have a really good opportunity to showcase these guys. I'm telling you. Lance found some Buffalo Trace. Man, that's good stuff. I'm not like I'm not doing again I know, like, if you can get some Buffalo Trace, man, that's some high level stuff. King Mac, thank you, Lance. I appreciate it. But I feel that you have a good opportunity to get some of those guys. You have Cam Howard, who also jumped on board from Charlotte. So I guess you have to certainly bring someone in, but it's certainly an area that's been depleted. Coach, were you surprised to see? And we'll get to Adam next. Were you surprised to see Isaiah Hamilton kind of like forego coming this weekend? I mean, clearly, does that mean that he just got the bag from Ole Miss to you?
It's two things. Yeah, it's either he took it, or we have our sights set on somebody else potentially, and that's a big possibility because we want quality, right? We want the best. I don't think we're simply looking for guys simply for depth purposes, because we got the talent. The talent is definitely here. We're just looking for starting guys that can make a big contribution to the team potentially this year, because this is going to be this is going to be one of the youngest, if not the youngest, defense in college football by far none. And so, I think it's just those two possibilities. I think either, you're right, Ole Miss could offer him the bag, which is a possibility. I mean, you see what Ole Miss has been doing as far as them really promoting their brand, and they got Joey Chestnut. He kind of came in, and they had concerts, and they're really trying to promote their brand, very similar to what Colorado's doing. And so that's starting to, they're starting to become a social media sensation. It's attracting a lot of players to them. That's no surprise also, but again, it also could be another situation where we had our sights potentially set on somewhere else, because we are also the standard in college football. So I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those situations kind of played out.
I liked Isaiah Hamilton's game. Like, I checked out a couple of his highlights, and I looked at his stats, and I was like, oh, this is the guy. So now think about this. Lane Kiffin has Isaiah Hamilton, who was, look, he was a target. He was expected to come here. How heavy did it get? Who knows? But we know that Trey Amos was here and did a pretty good job when he stepped in for Terrion a couple times. He was banged up, and now he's over there. So Lane is loading up in the transfer portal. But we've also learned that you can't buy a team. Ole Miss, they clearly have a really good collective. Ohio State's doing that. But we've seen that in the past, and we talked about this in my morning show, even during the midday when I came on, is the fact that like teams like Texas A&M, they've tried to buy a team before. That coach doesn't have a job anymore. USC, they've tried to buy, and they almost got worse. So Ty Hayes put it like this. He's like, the transfer portal works when you kind of feel kind of like a Band-Aids. And I like that. And I think that's what Coach Kalen DeBoer has done. And let's talk about the transfers that have come in real quick. But let's get to Adam real fast. This is Kyle and Coach Jay. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Why can't we play Kendrick Lauer, Kobe Printers both ways? It sounds crazy, but they're fast. And I'm like, no. So the one cat who could probably go both ways was Smitty. Do you guys remember that, Coach Jay? Do you remember that? Like in an emergency situation? Because that got thin. That year, I don't even know what the year that was. But Devontae Smith, they were like in an emergency situation. Smitty,
I think that was in 2018 when Trayvon went. It was just Trayvon went down that year. Yeah, it was nuts.
And Smitty at that time was probably like 155. Like I don't know how much he was, but he could play. So I don't know if you go into like an emergency situation. Adam Ampero saying Bubba Hampton, who could clearly play both ways. I mean, I'm sure you could figure out a couple of guys, but I think what will happen is, they'll get somebody, probably Deshaun Jones. I'm going to go ahead and say they get Khalil Jacobs from South Alabama. I think that's like a lock. And I think they'll get, I think we will be happy if Deshaun Jones commits. That's like a really good weekend, right, Coach? Khalil Jacobs and Deshaun Jones?
Yeah, because Khalil Jacobs, I mean, we already know the relationship he has with our defensive coordinator, and if we can get the other one, that'll also be it's adding bodies that can make a solid contribution to the team. That'll be big. That would be big right now, because I think we are taking a lot of massive hits. But Khalil Jacobs was the number one priority. That was a guy that we tried to get from the beginning. It ended up not turning out well. He ended up sticking with South Alabama because he thought that was the best possible decision. But what's crazy? It's funny because if Khalil Jacobs would have came to Alabama, and maybe he still is kind of doing it. But if he would have came here during the winter, he could have been. There's a possibility we could be talking about him as a starter. Maybe not in front of Deontay Lawson and Jah Campbell, but you're talking about somebody that does have that capability of playing the Husky. That can play the rover, right? Those linebackers that have that safety size that can move and be rangy and all over the football field. That could have been a big possibility. It still is. I'm not going to count that out, but obviously, I know the fans they're not really impressed with Malachi Moore playing at his position right now. They kind of want him inside. And so I think that we're experimenting. We're trying to try out some things. Players are kind of moving and see what we can do. But Khalil Jacobs is one of those dudes. I think he is the number one priority, that, especially because of with Womack and his relationship with him. being one of the best players on that team, that would be big for Bama if he would to come.
Yeah, I don't know if he's been like predicted or RPMs or whatever they do, but I would imagine that he's like, he's a lock to come here. I'm surprised that he just didn't come here the first time because he entered the transfer portal and then pulled his name out. But I bet you would. The guys have a lot to talk about. Plus, I don't know how it works, but I'm sure, Womack was like, hey, we can get you in over here. You can play over here. So I think that's the clear connection. I still feel when you look to the transfers that Alabama has added, right, from the transfer portal, Coach Kalen DeBoer, look, I would say that he's done, a job of if you're grading it A through F, he's done I would say A, and it's not being fancy, but the biggest one that we don't talk about enough is Graham Nicholson. Like, you got the Lou Groza Award to come here, right? You got Ryan Williams to come here too. Like, those are huge things that you did. I know Ryan Williams is a transfer, but as a recruit, I'm thinking big things. You got Parker Brailsford. Couldn't even snap the football last year from Seth. Now you got somebody who I guess could snap the football. The crazy thing was we never even got to see him snap the football. Jeremy Bernard. You got Caden Proctor to come back. And Keon Sabb. Coach, who do you think will be the most impactful transfers? Three of them to you. And undefeated, who do you think the biggest three transfers that Coach Kalen DeBoer has brought in? What do you think?
Number one, it has no choice. We got to have Parker Brailsford. We got to have him to be the most impactful player because everybody watched that spring game and they saw how impactful Seth was from that offensive line, right? You have two of the best interior offensive linemen in college football.
Yes.
And we had it last year. The only problem is we had a center that just like the continuity and the disconnection, the low snaps, throwing the timing off of the offense. It screwed up a lot of things. So Parker Brailsford, again, he's kind of similar to Seth in terms of his size. I know a lot of people love Seth. I love Seth. I would have hoped he would have stayed here instead of going to TCU. But Parker Brailsford, I mean, you're talking about a guy that was a freshman All-American. Yes, he played guard initially, and then somebody got hurt. They moved in the center, and then he took off ever since. He brings that valuable experience in terms of knowing the offense, in terms of what Kalen DeBoer likes to bring to the table. That's valuable. And so to have him be that centerpiece of the offensive line, that's going to be huge. Jim Bernard, that's another big one, of course, because I think again, that's a guy that can either play the X or the Z. Also is a player that can also play as an H or a Y as well. He can play all the football field. But you can tell that is probably going to be their most explosive playmaker in that receiving corps. That's going to be the guy that in terms of those deep crossing routes, those routes, he is going to be that. He is going to be that JMO type of player that can literally stretch the football field and can really open up all three levels. So I think that he's a very impactful player as well. And then, I'm going to say Damani Jackson, only because right now, we need him to be, we need somebody to go ahead and beat it. And again, I would not be surprised at all if Xavier Brown or maybe a Mincy steps up and takes that place. But I'm just going to say Damani Jackson because we really need somebody to play as that outside boundary type of player and to really kind of shut down the field. We got to have somebody that can at least be able to contain it. Very similar to like what Jabbar Muhammad was with Kalen DeBoer. He wasn't a shutdown corner, but he was pretty valuable. He was very, very valuable in that defense just based off of his experience, his knowledge, and just overall his grace and talent. And he was undersized as all heck. So Damani is 6'2". He's 180 pounds, maybe even bigger than that. And he brings that Saban-like build that Washington is just not really too familiar with. So I'm just hoping it can be him, but we're just gonna have to find out and see.
For me, I think if I had to go most impactful transfers that Kalen DeBoer has brought in, I know you mentioned Damani Jackson. I still feel that's a good ad, even though it is Coach Saban. That's your opinion. But for me, like when I look at the three guys that, the most impactful, I think the number one guy is actually going to be Graham Nicholson. I think when you look to all of the points that Will Reichert had, man, there was some close games last year. You take away some of the points, that he had. Man, and now I feel like less anxiety because who you have the Luke Groza Award. Every single time I get to talk about it, I'm excited. Number two, I feel that the most impactful transfer will then be Parker Brailsford. It has to be like who's the center? What's the competition they're going to look like? I don't know. we didn't get to see him snap the football, but he played in 612 snaps and only allowed like what, 2 sacks, and he was part of the Joe Moore Award. So that's the best award in college football for the offensive line. So right, Lou Groza, Joe Moore Award, and then the third most impactful, I think, will be Keon Sabb. I think that Keon Sabb is going to be that guy. And that's and after that I go Jeremy Bernard, because I think the wide receivers, without Jeremy Bernard, you were still going to have a really good wide receiving room. I didn't know, I guess, that he was going to be that talented, to be honest. Like, he's a lot better than I thought he was going to be, Jeremy Bernard. So I'm going Graham Nicholson, number 2, Parker Brailsford, and number 3, Keon Sabb, in terms of the guys that he's brought in. And, I guess, depending on who else they get on this back end, I think it'll be really good. But, the guy, that's kind of, I think he's done a really good job in the transfer. Now you're kind of just, fulfilling your other parts. But, the secondary has been such a concern just because of all the guys that have left. I know we didn't really get to chop it up about, Tony Mitchell or Peyton Woodyard. Give me your thoughts on those guys leaving. Were you surprised to see Tony Mitchell leave? Because he like left, and then they were like, no, he didn't, and then he did.
I'm not surprised. I'm more surprised with Peyton Woodyard, but Tony Mitchell, I'm not, because I think from a competition standpoint, I don't think he stands out. I just don't think he really stood out at all. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think Peyton Woodyard provided more of an opportunity for him to get a valuable playing time in the rotation compared to a Tony Mitchell. I think Tony Mitchell might have been a little bit buried too deep in that depth chart. And for the most part, I again, you look at guys like Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., what he was able to do. Yeah. You saw what Red Morgan was able to do. You saw what Keon Sapp, with his ability, was kind of able to do it there as well. And then Peyton Woodyard had a terrific spring game. So that safety depth chart is that it's more deeper in that position compared to how it is on outside. And yeah, Peyton Woodyard was surprising. Like I said, there were some things said that I don't know if it was completely true, but that's a loss. That is a big loss, especially because that was one of the guys that I think me, Coach Sean, and we kept talking about. Hey, if there's any 2 freshmen that we think can be valuable as far as potentially have the opportunity to start, I could see a Xavier Brown and a Payne Woodyard. Coincidentally, 2 players that came from the Cali League, which was one of the top leagues ever. So the Trinity League, right, came from there. But yeah, that I'm not gonna lie, that hurt me. That hurt me to my core as soon as I saw him in that transfer portal. But yeah, best of luck to him. And Tony Mitchell is the same, same situation. It's just kind of best of luck to him. And I get why Tony Mitchell left. Payton Woodyard hit hard, but they gotta do what's best for them.
Yeah. So today I was driving to the stadium. I did a video during the day, and I got a phone call, and it was from Toby. Man, and Toby's one of our biggest fans from Leeds, Alabama. Sometimes he calls in, and he called, and we started talking, and he was like, he thinks that Coach Kelly DeBoer can make a run at the championship this year.
Oh yeah,
right. And I started thinking about this, and I was thinking, look, whoever wins the college football championship this year, and it could very well be Alabama. It could be, I don't know, a lot of teams. I don't know if there's like a clear favorite right now, but this year of college football, I feel, I don't know. I hear like a beep too, Jarek.
Oh, is that coming from me?
I think it might be. It sounds kind of like a heart monitor. You good over there?
No. Oh, I know where it's coming from. Let me turn it off. I know where it's coming from. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what that is? It sounds like,
I think this is coming from.
It sounds like this. It's like beep.
Yeah. I have an app. And it's just, it's just blowing up all day. Let me see if I can shut it down if I can.
Bleep. Yeah, see?
Yep. Bloop. I'm sorry, guys.
Fire detector. No, you know what? And what's crazy is the fire alarm or the smoke alarm. It always goes out when you're like in the deepest sleep, and you hear it, and you're just like, "Are you serious?" Like, bloop. So what I was saying is,
is it happening still?
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy, that was like a double bleep. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm on right here. College football is going to be off the chain because I feel that whoever wins the college football national championship this year, it's going to be one of the most difficult gauntlets that you're going to have to run to win the championship. Could you imagine that? Like, we haven't even been able to really conceptualize this, but can you imagine getting whoever gets to the SEC championship game? There's no more, East and West. Like, this is straight up like, the best of the best. I mean, what are you thinking, Coach, in terms of, you know, this is going to be the most challenging run for anybody in the national championship?
Oh, it absolutely is. And by the way, I got it taken care of. I got it. I got to mute it. Yeah. But no, this is because this is the first time, Kyle, in college football history that we're going to see 17 games. Like, the national champion could be 17 games, depending. Because think about this for a second. You don't have to make it to the SEC championship to do it. You don't even have to win your division. You can go 10-2. Yes, you have to play the 4 games, but that's 17 games. Right. If anything, what's going to make it easier is going to be if you're an independent, this is the easiest time for you, because Notre Dame, they don't have conference championships. So they can go undefeated or have that one loss, get in the playoff, no conference championship, and you potentially can have a bye depending on your seeding. So with Alabama, this is, I mean, I talked about this way earlier, but I said the best possible case scenario is for Alabama not to play in the SEC championship game. Because, yes, some people can say, well, we get the bye week and we get more time off. Well, do we really? Because you get after the regular season, you have to prepare for the SEC championship game, which we all know that game is going to be intense. That game is going to be nuts. So, people are going to get bruised up. People are going to get injured. So what is better? Would you take that rest and then you get 3 weeks off to prepare for your first game? Or would you rather play in the SEC championship game, risk a ton of injury, because after the Iron Bowl, which we all know how intense that game is, that's the next week. What would you rather have? So this is tough, especially if you're an SEC fan, because you got Texas, you have Texas, you have Oklahoma, you have.
Think about Bama's back end schedule, right?
Oklahoma before you play Auburn. How are you going to do it? You got to go to Norman in front of 105,000 people.
Then you come back here and you play Auburn, and then is the SEC championship after that? It must be after that. So wait, did you say, Jarek, did I hear you right, that the winning team, the championship, will have to play 17 games this year?
The winning team can so the SEC championship winner can play 16 games. The other team can play 17 games because there's no bye week. So there's 4 for the loser. And then three because this is not even guaranteed, because there's a possibility. This is the SEC, so we're just going to say, but still, it's a possibility that they may not even get the top seeding. Somebody's going to be some conference championship winner is going to be a loser, where they're still going to have to play the 4 games.
That is crazy. Yeah, and so this morning, I looked at Ole Miss's schedule and their front schedule, because I was, Alabama's schedule is good on the front, but it's ultra challenging on the back. I mean, super hard. You have Missouri games at LSU. You go to you go to Tennessee. You go to Norman, Oklahoma. You come back and play Auburn. But Ole Miss's front end schedule is light as a feather. Their back end is a little bit more challenging, but just kind of whoever's going to be the number 1 and number 2 in the SEC. Theoretically, I don't think this will happen. But who's to say that Alabama and Georgia couldn't play 3 times in a season? Okay, like, this isn't okay. Let me just explain how. They play on the 4th week, okay? And then they meet in the SEC championship, okay? So that would be twice. And then depending on how the playoffs set up, right? I mean, they could.
No, you're right.
They could play in the playoffs, or they could play in the championship game.
There's a chance they can literally play back-to-back. There's a big possibility they can play back-to-back. Very huge possibility.
Man, that would be crazy.
And Kyle, just real quick, this is my biggest concern with college football. The regular season, I just don't think it's going to matter anymore. I think these rivalries don't even matter anymore, because guess what? With Ohio State and Michigan, it will happen. It might not be a guarantee for Bama and Georgia. I can guarantee you this: for Ohio State and Michigan this year, it will happen. That's a big possibility that they may meet up twice. And it takes away from it, because you look at the Iron Bowl, you look at what do they call the game? They call it the game. Why that game matters is not because they play once for 365 days. There is no there is no this type of crap where you're playing twice or three times. You're playing once per year, and then the winner has bragging rights. The loser has got to suck it up. That's not going to be the possibility. Imagine if Auburn, let's say, has a good year and they make it to the playoffs. You think they're concerned about the Iron Bowl? Like, yes, the winner will have bragging rights for about a week. But you saw, Kyle, during basketball season, Auburn beat the absolute living crap out of us in basketball. What happened? Alabama had the last laugh because Auburn lost the first week of the playoff, and we went to the Final Four. That is what is going to happen with college football. That's my biggest concern.
Let's kind of switch gears real quick. We're not going to stay on long tonight. We just wanted to pop on in chop shop on this Friday night. This basketball team, I'm sure everyone saw the social media where Roll Tide Willie's in one of the coach's office and he's watching Clifford. So people want Cliff Amori from Rutgers. Clearly, Alabama has to get a big to complete this arsenal of basketball, man. And it's been amazing to see. We're still kind of waiting on Mark Sears, but like, Jarek, have you had a chance to see LeBaron Philon, his highlights? I keep talking about him, the point guard. Have you just watched it?
What school? What school did he come from?
He's the 2024 point guard. LeBaron Philon. Okay, put that on your film list. Okay. It's crazy. So theoretically, you could have him at the one spot, but it's all about Alabama getting a big, and we'll keep you posted. If Alabama does get a rim protector, because they have guards aplenty. Reitzel's coming back. Grant Nelson coming back, but they need a rim protector if they want to climb Everest. Those two teams, Byron's saying Cliff commits on Sunday. And because he's on a visa, he's not eligible for the NIL. So it's going to be about, who can develop him. And damn, NATO's has been doing a good job. And if it's between Alabama and North Carolina, well, Alabama just beat North Carolina head to head. I don't know if that matters or whatever, but man, Alabama could certainly use him. Any thoughts kind of just on basketball in general? And because it's been a heavy topic that we continue to hit on. NATO's, this is also a basketball school.
This is going to be the most talented. Well, right now, it literally is the most talented basketball team I think we've ever had.
Yeah.
And if we can I don't know if that Kentucky powerful. I don't know if he there's like two dudes that transferred, but I don't know if the center. I don't know if he decided to commit, but I know that he was definitely on Alabama's top 5 list. If we can land a rim protector, that is all we truly need is a rim protector. Mm-hmm. Somebody that can control the paint on both sides. Somebody that can go out there and just be that can be a rebound chaser. Somebody that can help really dictate, because that Connecticut game, and I kept saying it. I'm like, if we go, you saw Connecticut this year. Last year with San Diego State. When you're just going against these teams, when they just have valuable bigs that can rebound, it is going to hurt you because we play small ball. We are a 3-point shooting. We are a 3-point shooting team that have really, really good guards that can create shots. Guys that can play on top of the key, that can play out the wing. We are phenomenal, but we don't have the forwards and the centers that can go out there and really absolutely just be a bruiser down there. So if we can get one, we're good.
Yep.
We're good. I'm fully confident that I think we can make a push for a national championship. We still can, but you see how valuable having a big man, especially when we make a deep run the tournament, actually is. Everybody's beat up. Not everyone's on their A game, and it takes one valuable slip up in order for you to lose it. And I think, that's what we have to learn from. And I think that's what we can do. But we got, I'm telling you, we get that rim protector, man. We are in good hands because the talent is there.
JG's like, Kyle, you hitting a wing joint tonight. You know what, man? I have full custody of my 2 kids. So I'm in their lives every single day. I take them to work. I pick them up. I pack their lunches. I make their breakfast. I make the best that I can dinners. So I have them every single day, and I'm in their lives every single day. While a wing joint, I can sneak away from time to time. Like the other day, I got to go play some golf. But no, man, being a parent and being in their lives every single day is, that's where I'm at, man. So all eyes on the kids. Jarek, man, I feel like I've seen you grow up, man, because we've known each other for what,
almost 10 years.
Yes, right.
7 years. Yep.
I know, man. I always used to remember when the 716 would call in, you would always be you were my leadoff batter, right? When the call-in show. Mm-hmm. man, those are back in the days, and it's amazing to see how the YouTube channels and the YouTube space has grown. You even have your own YouTube channel,
Yeah.
which is Jant Sports. If you haven't followed him, follow Jant Sports. And it's been amazing just to see how time flies, because I remember when you were calling in and we were talking, and now here you are, man. So we're always going to be good, man. And I appreciate you. And a couple years ago, when I was going through a really tough time mentally, though people don't know this, but Jarek texted me. And he would check on me, man. I'll never forget that, man. You're a good person, man, and I appreciate you. And I'm really, I'm proud to see kind of where you're at, man, because it makes me happy, because I'm seeing you grow up, man. So love having you on here, and I'm glad we got to wrap tonight. So we will be back as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I would imagine there's news. I think Byron said that Cliff Amoria is committing on Sunday. I think that you have some transfers that could possibly make their decision this week. So any final note on kind of like guys who are coming in this week? And I know someone asked about the Indiana prospect. I have to double check, because I think the number one player is in this weekend, but I have to go through my notes one more time to see if Lupez is a really good Mexican restaurant in Tuscaloosa. T and I have gone to Lupez plenty of times, but the number one spot is Antojitos. That is like that's up there, but Antojitos is good. Jarek, any final thoughts on like what you think might happen this weekend? I'm saying I'm saying Alabama will get, let's go with two. I'm gonna say 2 football commits and 1 basketball commit.
I'm hoping. I want one at this point, man, because it's it's like, yes, Tony Mitchell, and then basketball is more exciting. I'm just gonna say that it's more exciting. I'm looking forward towards basketball. Football wise, like I said, offensively, I'm excited. I'm super excited to see what this offensive looks like. But defensively, if we can just get one guy that can be impactful, that's all I need. That's just all I need.
Right. You're not asking for much.
Just one, please.
Just one. All right. Well, he is Jant Sports on YouTube. Jarek does a really great job for us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Good people. And we appreciate you being here. And thank you so much. Have a safe and blessed Friday night. We'll be back as news happens, and we will keep you posted on the latest news. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being a member of the Undefeated and a member of our YouTube channel right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We hope you have a really great Friday night, and we will catch you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube.